Once upon a time, in a small town nestled in the heart of the woods, there was a house. It was an old, decrepit place, with paint peeling from the walls and vines crawling up the sides. The townsfolk had long since abandoned it, believing it to be cursed. And yet, there was one family who dared to move in. The Johnsons were a peculiar family, with a mother, a father, and their 2 young children. They arrived in town one summer day, towing a moving truck behind them. The locals watched with bated breath as they unloaded their belongings and moved into the old house. No one dared to greet them or offer them any assistance. They were on their own. Days turned into weeks, and the Johnsons seemed to settle in just fine. They kept to themselves, rarely leaving the house except for groceries and supplies. But strange things started to happen around town. People reported hearing screams coming from the house at all hours of the night. Some even claimed to have seen strange figures moving about the property. The rumors grew stronger with each passing day, and soon the Johnsons were the talk of the town. Some said that they were witches, casting spells and curses on anyone who crossed them. Others whispered that they were part of a satanic cult, performing dark rituals within the walls of their home. But no one knew the truth. Until one night, when a group of brave townsfolk decided to investigate. Armed with flashlights and weapons, they approached the old house, expecting the worst. But what they found inside was beyond their wildest imaginations. The Johnsons were indeed witches, but not of the kind that the townsfolk had expected. They were practitioners of a dark magic that had long been forgotten, one that allowed them to summon spirits from beyond the veil of death. And they had been doing so for years, using the energy of the town's inhabitants to power their spells. The townsfolk were horrified by what they saw, but it was too late. The Johnsons had already cast their final spell, one that would allow them to ascend to a higher plane of existence. And as they chanted their incantations, the house began to shake and tremble. The townsfolk barely had time to react before the house exploded in a blinding flash of light. When the smoke cleared, there was nothing left of the Johnsons or their home. Just a smoking crater in the ground, surrounded by a ring of salt. The town was never the same after that. The Johnsons' dark magic had tainted the soil, and nothing would grow there again. The townsfolk eventually abandoned the place, leaving it to be swallowed up by the woods once more. And yet, some say that on quiet nights, when the wind is still and the moon is full, you can still hear the Johnsons' screams echoing through the trees, a warning to anyone foolish enough to disturb the peace of their cursed home.